Good morning, residents of Wakefield and all the veterans of Wakefield, Massachusetts, and the United States of America. My name is David Mangan. I'm the Veteran Service Officer for the town. I want to invite all of you to the Zoom, onto WCAT's Channel 22 today on Comcast, where you'll be seeing the celebration of the last 3 years of the veteran ceremonies that took place at the Galvin School. Today we're going to have our itinerary is going to include the Star-Spangled Banner and the Pledge of Allegiance, which will start now. The Pledge of Allegiance with Dan Benjamin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And God bless America.
God bless America. Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much. We have the Star-Spangled Banner by Francis Scott Key.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Veterans Day, 11/11/2020. Veterans Day originated as Armistice Day on November 11th, 1919, the first anniversary of the end of World War I. Congress passed a resolution in 1926 for an annual observance, and November 11th became a national holiday beginning in 1938. The first celebration using the term Veterans Day occurred in Birmingham, Alabama in 1947. Raymond Weeks, a World War II veteran, organized National Veterans Day, which included a parade and other festivities to honor all veterans. The event was held on November 11th, designated Armistice Day. Veterans Day means freedom, sacrifice, and honor for those who served in the military. It also means to give thanks to people who served. We should be brave and strong-hearted when we meet veterans. But without Veterans Day, many Americans would forget them and the sacrifices that they made. The military is the salvation of freedom based on the sacrifices made by so many. For the last full measure of devotion to freedom is to serve the greater need. Veterans Day is intended to honor and thank all military personnel who served the United States in all wars, particularly living veterans. It is marked by parades and church services, and in many places the American flag is hung at half-mast. This year we are embattled by the pandemic, yet we still honor and celebrate our veterans, although not in the grand scale we would like to, but through media exchanges and network communications. Let us also include this year our first responders, who by their own right have become veterans on the war of COVID. Our nurses, our doctors, our firefighters, police and ambulatory service members who have been fighting diligently towards protecting and caring for each and every one of us. And on this wall behind me and the memorials around this common, we have the names of several folks who have sacrificed and given their lives for our freedoms. Some living, some dead. The ones who sacrificed, the ones who are currently going through veteran care at the veteran hospitals throughout the state, are those who sacrifice diligently towards freedom. When you meet a veteran and you see a veteran wearing something, a hat, a shirt, a vest, something signifying that they served the country, a lot of people say, thanks for your service, which is nice. But I think, in my opinion as a veteran, I always say have a meaningful day, because a meaningful day is what it's about. If they're being meaningful and they feel that you have compassion towards their service, you're going to brighten their day. At this time, I would like to introduce, actually the proclamation is going to be read right now. Rob Ettinger, please.
A proclamation. A proclamation. Whereas, since the Commonwealth's colonial days, thousands of men and women have served our country in defense of freedom and liberty. And whereas, on November 11th, 1918, the armistice was signed in the forest of Compiègne by the Allied nations and Germany, ending World War I, the war to end all wars, after 4 years of conflict. And whereas, since that day, every November, people from around the nation have gathered to honor our veterans. And whereas, there are approximately 388,000 veterans living in Massachusetts. And whereas today we are reminded of the great sacrifices and contributions our veterans have made to our country. And whereas we honor and salute those who served our country throughout the generations with honor, patriotism, and courage. And whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who served their country, so that their dedication and sacrifice serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. And whereas in November 2020, the world will commemorate the 102nd anniversary of the armistice that ended the fighting in World War I at 11 a.m., November 11, 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Now, therefore, I, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2020 to be Veterans Day, and urge all the citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Given at the Executive Chamber in Boston, this 11th day of November in the year 2020, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 244th, by His Excellency, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth, Karen E. Polito, Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth, William Francis Galvin, Secretary of the Commonwealth. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Thank you, Rob. At this time, I would like to introduce Senator Jason Lewis, the 5th Middlesex District Senator.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Very glad to be with you all on this very important day. The Declaration of Independence ends with these famous words. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. The authors of this founding document understood that our nation's strength lies in the bonds between us, that we are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the aftermath of a very contentious election, we must remember that the principles and values of our country that unite us are stronger by far than any political differences we may have with one another. Nobody embodies this more than our veterans. They put their lives at risk in defense of our country, and they did so alongside fellow Americans of all races, religions, and ethnic backgrounds. It didn't matter whether their fellow soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine came from California, or Texas, or Massachusetts, or Mississippi. And it didn't matter whether they were a Democrat or a Republican, or had similar or different political views. As we celebrate Veterans Day this year, under the difficult circumstances of an ongoing global pandemic, let's use this opportunity to express our deepest gratitude to our veterans and to their families. And let's also use this opportunity to remember what unites us as a proud, democratic nation, a beacon of light for much of the world. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much. At this time, we'd like to have the laying of the wreath. The wreath we are laying today is symbolic of both living and departed veterans of foreign wars who died during the battle or died as a result of the battle. Thank you very much. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to also thank Senator Jason Lewis, our town administrator, Steve Mayo, and all the members of the Veteran Advisory Council of Wakefield, Jay Panett, Dan Benjamin, Rick Pearson, Christy Yentl, Melinda Cook, Marion Dennehy, Robert Ettinger, Mike Owen, Sean McGrath, Brian McCobrey, Paul Consigliere, and Jacqueline Millinor. We now finally have a full staff on our advisory crew, which is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. We also have some new additions to the pavers here in Wakefield. I just got the list today of them. The pavers are in recognition of veterans, some living, some departed. Sean Beadle, John Bohing, and Jerome Sweeney. And Averi Parece, I believe it is. They say again? Thank you. I'll have taps played, please, in honor of them. And for all veterans, veterans you may know, and family veterans, please visit the websites online today for a multitude of free meals and services that are available to veterans. I actually had a breakfast this morning at the Harvest Breakfast over here in Wakefield. Went to pay, they wouldn't let me pay. I said I can at least leave you a tip. And there are other places, too many to list at this point. And remember always to ask if there's a veteran discount available for the establishment in which they go in. For example, Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza here in Reading. I was in there one night, I wore my veteran hat, and they said there'll be 50% off on your bill. I said, what? 50% off all the time at Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza on the food. And other places as well, Home Depot, 10% off. And some car washes today are free. Actually, a veteran could probably get 3 meals today, total. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner if they move around. But of course, if they're watching their weight, it's not going to happen. At this time, I want to thank all of you for showing up today and sharing with us this very, very celebratory day. Thank you again. God bless the United States of America.